Okay.
Hi, everyone. This is Jolynn Lutz from One Heart TV, and I'm getting us all connected up on Facebook. What a wonderful afternoon here in California. We've got the sun shining. We do need the rain, however. But again, I'd like to welcome you. I'm Jolynn from One Heart TV, and I have a special guest, a dear friend of mine, actually, that we go way back. She was instrumental in teaching me meditation. And I'm really excited to bring this to everyone today and talk with her. She's got a wealth of information around meditation, what it is, what it can do for you. And we're going to get to the nuts and bolts on that today. But I'd like to introduce my friend Ruth Cherry, Dr. Ruth Cherry. She's a clinical psychologist in private practice on the Central Coast. Her specialty is integrating psychology and spiritual dynamics. Her books, yes, she has many books. Transformation are Open Your Heart, Accepting Unconditional Love. Ooh. Living in the Flow, Practicing Vibrational Alignment, and a Transformation Workbook. Welcome, Ruth, to One Heart TV.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be with you.
Yes, it's exciting today. We go back a ways, don't we? Several years ago.
More than two. Yes.
More than two
Yes.
years ago. Yeah. Yes, I met you through a friend we both know, Ginny, and she was trying to gather people and have you lead us in meditation, as I recall, correct?
We were doing meditation workshops out in the woods, weren't we? And we had this nice meeting room. Then we would go on little hikes, have lunch, and it was a fun get away from your normal life kind of routine. Now we're both pretty involved in our lives and we're doing meditation in the confines, in the construct of our lives. And that's what I'm interested in. Meditation is not something exotic. It's not something weird. It's not something you have to stop your life to go and do. It's part of our everyday lives, every day, every day. And so that's what I want to share with people. I love sharing meditation with people, and I run into so many mistaken beliefs about meditation. Well, you have to close your eyes and sit in the lotus position. No. You have to meditate for 20 minutes morning and night. No, that's not true. You have to do it this way. You have to believe that. You know, there's just so many mistaken beliefs, and meditation is remembering who we are. That's all it is, remembering who we are, getting back to our essential core, being present to ourselves, paying attention. Piece of cake, huh, Jolene? Anyone can do that.
You know, I'm so glad you're bringing these things up because when I first started in meditation, I have to admit it was difficult. This monkey mind, they call it, it just goes and goes a mile a minute. I got to go do this as soon as I'm finished. Uh, and there's just this expectation, I think, as a beginner meditator to think that you can stop that and everything will be fine. And
That's
it's one of the hardest things. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm so glad.
You can't stop that, you know, and even for great meditators, it doesn't stop. The point is, it doesn't matter. You know, it's like leaves on the river. We sit on the riverbank, we watch the leaves go down the river, we put a thought or a feeling on every leaf. So if you have a million leaves on the river, that's okay, as long as you stay on the riverbank. You don't have
Right.
to jump in and attach yourself to every thought and feeling that runs through you. You just notice it.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. I want to read this because I really enjoyed this when I was reading over your bio, if I may share. You said, when I sit with a client in psychotherapy, I practice presence. I want to experience what it is to be her. I want to see through her eyes and feel as she feels. I want to live in her skin for a few minutes or moments. At the same time, I am anchored in my observer. Can you expand on that a little bit? That's an important part of meditation, is become the observer. What does that mean?
Absolutely. Well, we all have an observer and we all use our observer sometimes. Have you ever been to a movie? Do you sit in the seat in the theater and you look at the movie? No matter if you have feelings, sometimes when I go to a movie, I cry. Sometimes I laugh. Sometimes I have other feelings, but I always sit in my seat. I don't jump up and bang on the screen or talk back. I'm the observer. That's what an observer is. It's a detached awareness of what is this second. Now, as far as being an observer for ourselves, when we observe our thoughts and observe our feelings, we're identifying with a deeper place in ourselves, not with our minds, not with our hearts, with some place even deeper in our essential core, closer to being, just being. And from this being place, we notice our thoughts, we notice our feelings, but they're just leaves on the river. You know, we notice them, we let them go, we watch them pass. They come back, we watch them pass again, we watch them pass again, we watch them pass again, but we stay on the riverbank in our detached observer. Detached observer. That's the phrase of the week for me, detached observer. We notice what's going on, but we don't participate in it. You know, it's okay to have thoughts. We don't want to get angry with ourselves for having thoughts. We don't want to resist our thoughts. We don't want to criticize our thoughts. We just don't want to engage. We just want to look. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. You know, and we just notice. We just notice. And pretty soon there won't be quite as many thoughts. Or maybe some days there are going to be 100 million thoughts. It doesn't matter. As long as you stay on the riverbank, it doesn't matter how many leaves are in your river. And we can all observe, because we all do that when we watch television. Television is such a good practice for meditation.
Really?
Yeah, because there's some things on TV that just really are upsetting, aren't they? Some people I have heard just don't watch the news more than half an hour a day because it upsets them too much. But what if we just notice everything that goes on television and it passes? But we're staying in our homes and we're anchored and we're safe and our life is okay. We don't have to be what we notice. We're behind the observer window. Have you ever been behind the window and you look out, maybe in your front yard, maybe in your neighbor's front yard, and there's kids playing, screaming, having fun,
Mm.
but you're inside your house. The window separates you from what you see, from what you observe. And so I like that image of having an observer window. My being is on my side of the observer window. My thoughts, my feelings are on the other side of the observer window, as though my thoughts and my feelings are the children playing in the neighborhood. I look
Hmm.
out, I see them, but I'm not participating with them. I'm not criticizing them. I'm not reacting. I just notice them. But I stay on my side of the observer window. And I like that image of having a barrier, so to speak, between me and my thoughts, because that gives you a sense of what it is to be other than, to be detached. My thoughts don't rule me. My feelings don't rule me. But I have to remember that I am not my thoughts.
Well, Ruth, a lot of people right now are in their thoughts. They're fear-based. As you said, people are watching the news, which is very unhealthy, and getting caught up in that as if that is the present moment. The present moment is, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching TV. Thereby, I'm the observer of something going on. But it's that attaching, don't you know what I'm saying today? And it's very fearful for people who are trying to make sense of this whole past 2020, which has
Mhm.
taken us all in a tailspin. We get one thing on the news, then another thing on the news. I know for me, I've let the news go. completely because it doesn't serve me. But for those that do watch it more than a half an hour, what would you say to them to help them in that moment catch themselves? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, partly this will pass. Whatever's going on today, as awful as it is, this will pass. This isn't going to go on forever. We can strengthen our peace, our essential core, our connection to universal wisdom, no matter what is going on around us. It doesn't matter what's going on around us. It doesn't matter what anybody else does. We can find that peace inside us, breathe into that peace, and experience that peace every day. So the outside doesn't determine our experience on the inside unless we let it, unless we take our thoughts seriously and attach to them and say, oh, I have to do something about this. The truth is, we don't have to do anything about our thinking. Right. We don't have to do anything about our feelings. We want to acknowledge them and stay in our detached observer and breathe and focus inside. It's our inner world, isn't it? People think if I want to be happy, I have to change what's out there. And when I change what's out there, then I'll be happy inside myself. Doesn't work from the outside in.
I've been running that, what do you call it? Little mouse wheel a lot of my years.
We all do. We all do. And isn't that how we're trained to think? If I have that, and isn't that what a commercial on TV is? If I have this automobile, well, then my life is going to be good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If I eat that food, if I don't, whatever, it's not a matter of behavior. It's not a matter of thinking someone else's thoughts. It's not a matter of buying into someone's program. And I say this now, which is a little dangerous when I'm trying to say meditation's helpful for all of us. We don't want to buy into someone else's program and do it their way and expect that it's going to transform our lives. Transformation is an inner world job. It's an inside job, right? So we move inside ourselves, and there are places that we're afraid to go because we have old wounds, huh? After you live for a while, you have experiences, and there are places inside that are a little bruised, and your self-esteem may not be as good as it could be, and you think there's something wrong with you, and you're suspecting that that's why your relationships don't work, because you're basically deficient. And so don't go, and your mind just goes on and on and on.
That's a rabbit hole. That's an awful rabbit hole, I'll tell you. Let's take us back a little bit. Can you explain or share with the folks how many years you've been meditating, and why did you start?
Why did I start meditating?
Yes, why did you start meditation?
Okay, so I graduated, I got my doctorate in psychology in 1976. And so one class we had to take every year was the humanities class. It was basically different forms of healing. And so I was finishing my dissertation, I was finishing my coursework, I was making up a lot of credits that had to be made up, and I was going nuts. So I went into the office and I said, is there any class that doesn't have any homework? And they said, well, we can put you in the meditation class. And I was looking for something that didn't have any homework in 1976. And I'm still doing the homework.
Don't tell anybody, right? Okay. You're not unlike any other college student. Okay.
So in my 20s, in your 20s, you're busy. You have places to go, things to do. In your 30s, I was establishing my private practice. I was getting set up and being a clinical psychologist, getting my license, getting everything in order. But for all of us in our 40s, the bills come due. What we haven't taken care of, it's right there. It didn't go away. Just because we didn't want to look at it, it didn't go away. Those hurts are still there. Those questions are still there. Those self-doubts are still there. And in our 40s, they come up and they say, hey, look at me, deal with me now. And so then we have to in our 40s, or else we redouble our defenses. We start drinking more or working more or eating more or whatever.
Mhm.
And you can see the consequences of that. Or we can move deeper and deeper and deeper inside ourselves, which is so wonderful that life works with us. You know, at some points, life extends us a hand and says, if you want to, come in and we can do some healing work on the inside. And it takes so much courage to say, yes, thank you,
It
and to
does.
move inside
It
and to
does.
follow our inner world guidance. But that's the trick, to make that turn, that shift to our inner world and say, oh, this is the guidance I can trust. And I don't include our thoughts and our feelings in the inner world. I think it's deeper than that. You
Hmm.
know, our thoughts and our feelings, we have to acknowledge them, but we can't build our lives on them,
Would you say they're
because your,
like the triggers?
your thinking will make you crazy. We
It
have to
will. It
get,
does. It does.
yeah, we have to get deeper to that. But we go to school to learn to think, don't we? So when
Mhm.
anything comes up and we're uncomfortable, we'll say, well, let's think about this. Let's see what I can do about it.
Right, right.
But by the time we're in our 40s and 50s, we realize that doesn't work. We've had enough experience with life to say there's something deeper, deeper, deeper inside me. And we move into those deeper places.
Mm.
And we have the courage to move into those deeper places. It's too hard when we're in our 20s. We can't move that deeply inside, or even our 30s. But our 40s and our 50s and our 60s are wonderful times to do this inner work. Yes, yes.
That's where I'm at now. Yes, I love it. I love it. I
Ooh,
have a practice every morning
what's
that
that?
I've been doing now for 2 years, and it's called the Wim Hof breathing technique.
Tell
Um,
me what that is.
for me, it was basically I was on. I'm a researcher at heart. I'm always looking up things, especially around health and well-being, because I want to. I know I have to live in this vessel for a long time. I hope, and I want to do it healthy wise. So I changed my eating habits. I exercise every day, but I was still struggling with the mind thoughts. I'm not good enough, even though I was trying to help the children with my anti-bully program. So there's this guy off to the side of the feed with a mask full of ice. They called him the Iceman. His beard's all iced up, and they kept saying, "Check him out." Check. Finally, I clicked it. I said, I'm done with this. I went on and I listened to his story, and it was so similar to me. He seemed to go within after he lost his wife to suicide, had 4 young children, and he was an ongoing researcher, deeply involved in his own well-being. Well, he discovered through some meditation and some work in Tibet, I believe, that he came back with a practice of his own. It's called the Wim Hof breathing technique, where you sit and you do a series of breaths in through your nose, out of your mouth. I do 40 of them in the morning, 4 sets of 40.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finish with the first one, you're supposed to hold your breath after the 40th intake, and you let it out, and you hold your breath, and you hold it for a minute. At first you don't think you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
The one I do, I'm up to 3. I've gotten up to 4 minutes holding my breath. Now, why do you even want to do the breaths? Well, supposedly it takes the body and puts it into the reptilian back part of the brain, but it also, and that engages all the chemicals, all the pharmacy that we have within the center of our brain. It also invigorates the red blood cells, which I think is so important right now for our immune system. Um, I've been so healthy, I'll tell you. And then he wants you to dip in an ice cold shower every morning. And I did that for a little while and then I stopped. And sometimes I do it, but for the most part, it's helped me reduce my anxiety and reduce my depressive thoughts. And I thought this is a win-win for me.
Isn't that
A
lovely?
win-win.
Isn't that lovely? I encourage people to try everything. Try
Yes,
everything you hear and take from it what works for you and then
correct.
modify it to your life. You know,
Exactly.
some
I think
people,
that's true.
I meditate 45 minutes every day and I wouldn't miss it. I look forward to it. I love it. And some people say, "Ugh." So I say, meditate for 4 seconds. Start with 4 seconds. If you want to do another 4 seconds, add another 4 seconds on, and then add another 4 seconds if you want. But do not sit down and say, I'm going to meditate for 45 minutes or even 20 minutes,
Right.
because it's beginners just can't do that, you know, and they don't, we don't know what we're doing when we start. The other thing I really like that I am doing now is I'm recording guided meditations so that people
Right.
who are trying to learn to meditate can meditate with me. So I record guided meditations of 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and people listen to them, close their eyes, and focus. I have repeated prompts to focus your attention on this second.
Mhm.
So they're not left dangling out there with this voice in their head saying, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it
Oh,
wrong, which is there for all of
oh,
us.
that happens.
Whenever we
That
start,
happens.
that's always there. And so we learned that that's our controller. That's the part of us that does not want us to meditate, because you might get too close to something, because it's too vulnerable and we don't want to be vulnerable. But vulnerability is the door, isn't it, to our spiritual
Well,
growth?
Brene Brown highly talks about that. Highly talks about that.
Mhm.
Vulnerability. There's a couple things. One of the questions I have for you is, a lot of people think, oh, I can't do meditation. That's a religion belief or some kind or whatever. Can you speak a little bit your thoughts on that and how you can dissolve that? I'd love to see meditation in all the schools
And
every morning. I would.
it's being taught in more schools and to young people too. There is no dogma with meditation. So I came to meditation through my doctoral program in psychology, not
Right.
through a church, not through a theology. There is no belief system in meditation. We practice being who we are this second, because what we're tapping into is a wisdom greater than our minds. So there's no
Mm,
intellectual component really at all.
I
It's
love
fun
that.
to read about meditation and to talk about it. And to my guru did this and I bought this, you know, we can talk all we want, but that's not what meditation is about. It's getting to our essence, to who we are as humans. What's the basic core part of who I am? And nobody's going to tell me what that is, you know?
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with dogma and any of these thoughts that go through our head. Oh, my church won't allow this. Oh, it's not safe. Oh, I shouldn't. Those are just excuses. You know, there's part of us that doesn't want to meditate, and it will pull on anything to give us an excuse to not meditate.
Mm,
So it's just another excuse. Put it on a leaf, watch it go down the river, you know, any number of excuses. And it doesn't matter. It's fine to have excuses. Just stay on the riverbank, put the excuses on the leaves, watch them go down the river, and then do it the next day, and then do it the next day. And so when people are starting to meditate, maybe they want to do 4 seconds 20 times a day or 2 times a day, whatever they want,
right.
just to do a few seconds, because they may see how it feels. They may like this reprieve from the rat race to get
Mhm.
out that little rat wheeler thing going through their heads
Yeah.
for 4 seconds, you know, and what a gift that is to give to ourselves, isn't it? 4 seconds just to be yourself and
Yeah.
breathe.
I came across a meditation. You were so kind to let me share it with the group way back, and it was a singing meditation. Being that I'm a musician, and you
Mhm.
would tap your fingers and do sa, ta, na, ma. You would sing this, and you would sing it out loud together for, you could do it 10 minutes or 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Then you do it as a whisper to yourself, then quietly in your head, not out loud at all, then back to whisper and then out loud. So it'd be Satanama, Satanama. Came across an absolutely phenomenal update on that in a book called How God Changes Your Brain. They had researched different types of meditation, the effects on people and what happened. And this seemed to I've used it with different groups, my International Women's Day event, to calm everybody when they first come in. Inevitably, when I open it up at the very end, Ruth, I say, does anyone want to share how they feel right now? I'd always get the same responses. I feel calmer. I feel like what I came in with, I left. It's gone. And I was like, oh, what if we did that every morning with our babies in school? I think the teachers would have them. The teachers would have their attention for the rest of the day.
Wouldn't
Powerful.
that be lovely?
Yes.
And those students would have something they could use when they get too upset in their lives. They could give themselves a few seconds in the other room. They would know a way to calm themselves down. It would be empowering, wouldn't
Even
it?
before a test, I used to have great anxiety before a test. Great anxiety as a young kid. I really wanted to, we're talking about the present moment, and I think that's difficult, or just being. I can remember first hearing that from Carolyn Mays. Just be. Wait, you want me to just sit there and just be? What does that mean? I can remember that's what I used to think. Wait a minute, you want me to drop that I'm this and this and this, and I got to go to work and I got to pay the bills and just be nothing? That doesn't make any sense, but it is the key.
It is the key, and it doesn't make any sense. Yes.
Yeah. And I'd like to end, if we could, because I'm trying to gather my females more, especially moms who are at home right now. They've got schoolwork that they have to teach to children now. Maybe they could use a little help to teach their children how, the whole family, really, the husband too. Let's get that guy in there too. And just something. Could you take us through a little meditation right now to give them some sense of what your Patreon site is?
Certainly. How many minutes will you give me?
I'm going to go in the flow. You want 2 minutes, 5 minutes? I'm open. Whatever you feel.
Okay, we'll let our eyes close.
Yes.
And for a moment, we breathe with our eyes closed, breathing just the way we always breathe. Noticing the air as it comes in and as it goes out. And just noticing. We notice what it's like in our body right now, this second. Maybe there's a tight muscle someplace. Maybe there's comfort. We just notice what is with our body this second. We let our in-breath pull our attention deeper inside. We breathe and we focus on this second. We noticed our breath, and the part of us that notices is our observer. We move into our observer right now. We're behind the observer window. We notice our thoughts and our feelings on the other side of the observer window. But we stay on our side of the observer window, breathing and being and focusing on this second. Notice what it is to be the detached observer. No matter what's going on the other side of the window, no matter what the thoughts are, no matter what the feelings are, we stay on our side, the observer side of the observer window, breathing and being and focusing on this second. And if we find we started thinking, we pull ourselves back to the observer side of the window and we simply notice. We notice that this second is fine, just the way it is. We focus on this second. And on this second. And we know we can come back to this place inside ourselves anytime we want. But for right now, we let our out breath pull our attention up, coming back into the room, moving our feet and our fingers and our shoulders, coming back, becoming more alert, and we let our eyes open. So I hope the listeners can remember that focus on this second, and it's all a leaf on the stream. Just watch the leaves go down the stream. Maybe that'll make a difference for them.
That was absolutely wonderful. I feel like the leaf on the stream just floating on down.
And it just
Beautiful.
takes a second, doesn't it? It just
Mhm.
takes a second or a few seconds, whatever you have. You
Yeah.
can't do this wrong. It's just remembering who we are. Mhm.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people think they're losing time in their day, and I have learned by doing my practice that I feel like I'm gaining more time. It's a weird spatial thing in the brain. I have no idea how that works, but
Time expands when you meditate, and suddenly there's time enough for everything.
and I
It's
think
not
with
logical, but that's true.
yeah, and I think with mothers or women in particular, this is really needed in their lives when they're hustling and bustling and doing all the things that they're doing, as well as the gentleman out there. So I really invite you all to please check her out. Ruth Cherry, you've got a website. Where can they find you?
RuthCherryPhD.com. There's a website. There's a free guided meditation on there, a 30-minute meditation. There's a
Wonderful.
subscription service for $1 a month. You can listen to me in 100 different meditations. You have your choice. You don't ever have to listen to the same meditation twice in a month if you don't want to. And I add 6 more every month, because sometimes if you listen to someone's guided meditation too many times, you memorize it. And then
Right.
you know what's coming up, but you'll always have a new one. So check out the guided meditations tab too. And I'd love to hear from people, see what they
Yes.
think, what helps them.
Yes, I do too. Please share your comments in the Facebook Live here. We'd love to hear that. I'll have this up on YouTube as well. And I will put in, Ruth, all the links to those couple things that you shared so people can find you or be part of your daily inspirations. Um,
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
really going to remember this window thing. That's a new one for me.
But
Um,
isn't that a nice image to
Look
carry
out.
around with you?
Absolutely, especially when you're in the doctor's office, when you're in line at the grocery store, you
Uh-huh.
know, it's almost like a picture frame. I can see,
Uh-huh.
oh, I'm not angry that they're taking a long time. I'm just observing it. Oh,
Yeah,
hmm.
your portable window that you
Yeah,
can carry around.
portable window. That's great. Well, I really appreciate you taking your time today to talk a little bit about giving insights to how to stay in the present moment. I think with the busy schedules, with the fear, with the grief of some, with loss of jobs, with homeschooling, it's quite a ruckus out there. And I'm sure people have lost themselves, completely lost what they thought was the old world. We are coming in, I think, into a new and exciting time where we can learn these techniques and
Mhm.
just remember who we are, like you said.
Remember who we are. It's been delightful being with you. You're doing good
Absolutely.
work. I'm so appreciate being included. Thank you so much.
You bet. And one thing for you all out there, please, if you like these videos and feel that you're getting some value, go to oneheartinfo.org where you can donate so we can keep bringing you these quality videos with these incredible women. Right now, I'm focusing and interviewing only women in their prospective fields of expertise. I also want you to, if you're on YouTube, please hit that bell. We're getting more subscribers all the time, so that'll notify you when the next video comes about. Ruth, thank you. Thank you. I am so glad. This is almost, I felt like I was back when I remember I helped you in the very beginning. You wanted a little music behind one of your meditations, and I helped you out with it in my
Yes,
home recording studio. And that might have been I think
yes.
that was very beginning when you were starting it. So you've got hundreds now, hundreds available.
But that was lovely to do that with you at that
It
time.
was.
We should do that again, don't you think?
We should do that again.
Let's think
Okay.
about that. Okay. Thank you
All
so much
right.
for the
To you
opportunity.
all out there, bye-bye. Thank you for joining us. And please hit up oneheartinfo.org or One Heart TV on YouTube. You catch all these videos. Please feel free to donate, subscribe. We love you. All right. Peace. Love y'all. I'm out.